Welcome to episode 104 of the Road is Dead podcast. I am your pseudo host, Rob Curtis, here in the studio with
Leah Sanda.
and joined remotely.
Tim Strelecki.
And I do like how some podcasts, they do mention where they're at, like the city or state or whatever. So we'll be more specific. We're here in Illinois. And Tim, you're where?
I am in my basement in
Illinois?
Geneva, Illinois.
All right.
You could
All
tell
right.
by this
Well, we're
lovely
in
wood
East
paneling
Dundee,
behind
okay.
me.
We're in Simet Central. Leah's commenting, for those that are watching the video, you get to see all this, but Leah's commenting about your very small beanie.
Oh, yeah. See that?
I just want to throw in, I said beanie.
It's not small. It's big, but I just have really bad hair. I mean, come on, people. Look at this crap.
No, it looks good. Me, personally, I'm wearing an Abe Froman
I know.
t-shirt.
I saw
'cause
that.
I am the sausage king of Chicago.
Tour to quarantine.
Nice.
go.
I think my dad watches these podcasts, and I don't want him to think that, I'm some kind of loser. So I gotta, wear the
Well.
beanie and keep the hair under wraps. So I don't know. Anyway.
I don't think I'm looking at her notifications. Sorry, you're definitely not a loser. So I'm just throwing that out there. I'm looking at her notifications because I am
Cobb
very
Park.
nosy. Apparently,
Cobb Park, I was the first loser.
There you go. Well, can't really.
How did you get the coffee mug then? Or did they give it to
I don't know.
everybody?
It's like a participation trophy. It's like the norm these days. It comes with like an entry fee. I don't know. They give medals to like 10 places now.
Man, there's a couple topics and things that I would really love to talk about that have to do with that, and I'm just not going to get into them. But
Why?
there's very, very specific and distinct reasons. But I would like to talk about. Well, we're gonna get to it. So let me just go ahead with the. No, you said you got a couple of those from Cobb Park.
I have a couple of those coffee mugs, yes.
How did you
And
get a couple?
socks.
They only handed them out this year, didn't they?
Yes, I got two of them.
So you were
I
first
was,
loser in 2 races?
I was on the podium for
Oh, all podium.
I was on the overall podium, I think, in I forget which race. I don't know. Oh, Cat 2. I think I was second place with Elizabeth. I was 2 out of 2 in that because there's only 2 of us. And then in the Masters race.
Nice.
another one.
Oh, nice.
So
Nice.
How many? Do you know how many current Cat 2s there are in Illinois, women?
Oh, good question. With actively racing, I don't know. I mean, not too many. Very, very few.
I don't know if you remember when I did the survey about what specific category to have to award the Cat 2 championship in. I did it many years ago, and we pulled. It was funny because there was a lot of people discussing it and going, "Well, I think it should be in this, and I think it should be in this," and I'm like, "I'm going to look it up." And I think there are 5 or 6 in the state.
Yeah, and most of them aren't racing.
And I emailed every single one of them, and I got responses from everybody, I think. And most of them were like, I'm not going to contest it, but I would recommend it be in this.
Mhm.
So I think too many people, this is a personal statement. I think that too many people decide that they know what's best for everybody, and instead of really kind of stepping aside and going, I could just ask them what they want to do, and then I don't have to like sit there and be top dog. I don't know. But anyway, I don't know why I was going there other than I wanted to talk about the fact that there weren't many back then, and I don't know if that number's gone up or gone down. I would assume it's at least stayed the same.
Cat 2 women?
Yeah.
I think it's gone down probably.
To the best of my knowledge, I don't think any new upgrades happened in the last year.
Right.
Well,
I could be wrong. There could be one.
Since I did that survey, Elizabeth has become a Cat 2.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's 1 or 2 others maybe since then. I mean, Simone.
Yeah, Simone. I don't know if she's
okay.
I think she's a Cat 2. I'm pretty sure she's a 2. So yeah.
I want to point out something that most anybody that listens to this out of state, and yes, there are a few of you, that listen to it out of state may not grasp. But yeah, it's pretty sad that we can sit here and talk about specific individuals because that's how few there really are.
Well, Cat 1s and 2s for women. There are probably around a dozen in total, but maybe half of that or less than half of that are actively racing.
I want to say there's more than a dozen if you include Cat 1s in there
Right.
that currently have a license. As there are some that still update their license without actually racing.
Well, I mean, like Kathy and Sarah and Kelly. I mean, they were all 2s at one point, but they don't have active licenses.
2s are 1s.
Right. So
I don't know how many 1s there are, but anyway,
it's depressingly small. I think.
Yes, I would agree.
I would love to see more growth. We have quite a few really good, strong Cat 3 women. So I think we're going to see some migration up.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, I think.
Nah, they're gonna sandbag and stay Cat 3 just so they can get on the podium.
No.
I'm just kidding.
I would say it's depressingly small, but I'm kind of turning over this new leaf with everything, and I want to say I'm very happy that we have who we have, and I hope that they keep doing it.
Yeah. Yep.
I would like to, if you're listening and you're one of an individual that falls in this range, I would encourage you to come out to a road race this year, and let's see you at a criterium.
Mm-hmm.
You know you want to. Outside of that, CCC, I know, Tim, you didn't go to this particular race, but you've been at it many times before. We could do a quick little CCC wrap up. Last race of the year was obviously Montrose. I don't know. Have I been private about my hatred of Montrose, or has it been a public thing on this?
I don't know if you've gone to the extent to which I've heard you with my own 2 ears. So why don't you let people know?
No, I don't necessarily want to cover all of it because, like I said, I'm turning over a new leaf. And I don't want to say it's a new leaf. I've been this way for a while. I've been better. But I want to say those that know me well understand that Montrose is not my favorite race of the year. And it has a lot of reasons for not being my favorite race. And very few of them actually have to do with the course or the actual race itself. I think I have covered that the last time I raced it was 2008 because of a lot of reasons. But I had such a miserable time in 2008. And by the way, it was one of my highest placings since then. But I had such a miserable time in 2008. I swore I wasn't going to come back. And then
18, not 8.
No, 8. 2008
really?
was the last time I raced that race.
Wow.
That's insane.
And I started coming back to it in like 7 years ago. So like 2016, 2015, 2016 is when I started coming back to it. So I took like an 8 years off of it. Like I refused to go. And it was a thing. I remember Katie being upset going, well, we'd like to have the tent there. And I think you hauled the tent out once or twice just so you'd have a tent there. So I started coming back around then because I was kind of like, I need to not be this way and I should at least support the team. So I'm going to drag the tent out.
Nice.
But obviously I didn't race it. But I've had a full season this year. And a lot of people did text and email me coming up to going, hey, it looks like you're on the start list. Are you actually going to race it this year? And I did.
Awesome.
I did actually race it this year.
Awesome.
And I got to say, I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I saw you smiling in your race. I did.
He told
I caught
me
it.
that.
It was
That's
not
funny.
a grimace. It was a smile.
I'm sitting there riding.
I called you out on it too.
Yeah, you did.
It's got to be close to, I don't know, the last lap, or it probably was the last lap, but
maybe that's why you were smiling.
I didn't know it was the last lap. Definitely at that
He
point.
knew he was about to be done.
But I'm just sitting there riding through a section where you're going over pavement and then grass and pavement and then grass and then like sand or whatever. And all I hear, I'm already looking at the next sand coming up, I think. And all I hear is from the side, basically her voice go, like, I just saw you fucking smile. Don't tell me you're not having fun.
Yeah, right. That's great.
So, I mean, that cracked me up.
Yeah.
Because I was like, at first it pissed me off. At first I was like, I didn't smile. But then it cracked me up. I'm like, yeah, it probably was.
Oh, that's great.
So I had fun.
Good.
Conditions. I do want to talk about the conditions slightly from my point of view. Getting there, it was a very nice morning. It had rained overnight, but it was a very nice morning. It was nice enough that I threw on all my gear to go like ride around and pre-lap, and I wanted to take my gear off because I was sweating.
Nice.
It was warm. It was muggy, and I was seriously considering like stripping down to a clothing level that you've never seen me race in. You always say I'm overdressed anyway, but and I'm not disagreeing, but it's where I would rather be on
I
the
thought
hot
I
side.
saw a picture with you with your lake winter boots on.
No.
Okay.
No, not in that.
Okay.
I haven't raced in those. I don't think this year. Maybe I did. I don't know.
Huh.
But I'm sitting there in the tent warming up and just pouring sweat, stripped down to almost nothing. Sorry for everybody who saw it. And I'm sitting there and all I hear is, and it starts raining as a 35 plus are racing, and I'm like, and it's raining more than just the spritzing and sprinkling we've been having. So I'm like, well, this could get interesting, but I was still planning on it being the same. I was trying to chase her down because she was riding on my Grifos, and I was going to go mid tread, and I had already had the Limuses on. I was going to go heavy mud tread, but it was feeling so slow and boggy in a bunch of places. And I'm like, we got solid traction everywhere here except for the sand. And honestly, I think the Grifos would be better on the sand anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I was trying to chase her down to find my wheels because I was like, I want to swap them back for my race. And I jumped out and I saw her and she's like, yeah, no, I got it here. And I'm looking at the wheel. Her rear was just caked in mud. And mine wasn't. And mine were almost clear. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to stay with these. I am so glad that I did.
Yeah, I bet. Because
it kept raining. And while the 35 plus, it was, muddy out there, but it wasn't ridiculous, and they got done. Luckily, there were guys that raced the 35 and the 45. So I got their feedback. And it wasn't just me going, I don't know what you're talking about, man. But I don't know what you're talking about because the course went to hell. All the 35 plus were, well, it was fine. It was okay. By the time we started, the course went to hell. And
I was so happy. I was so happy.
It was just the water, it was still coming down. The rain was still coming down. So it was that if people went to trek, they would know what I'm talking about. That part where you hit the mud, but it's just soupy water, dark water that's sitting on top of everything. It's not even like mud, it's just wetness.
Grease. It was like riding in grease.
And you could just cut right through it if you're on the flats or straights or whatever. But when you get in the turns, it's slick as hell. The hill, Cricket Hill, for those that are familiar, the hill that's right after the start, it's got a solid grade all the way up, and that was fine. First lap, we're going up it, and then it has this little kick at the very end, and that little kick, everyone just started zip, zip, slipping with their rear wheels. And
By my race,
that was
I
on
had to
lap
run
one.
it.
I was able to ride through it, and I passed a couple of people on the first lap. Second lap, I was still able to get up, and it was kind of a mess, and I kind of questioned why I was wasting that much energy to do that. And third and fourth lap, I was running at that point. And the rest of the course kind of went that way. First lap was so-so. Second lap was a little worse. Third and fourth were just like, forget about it. So for like guys like you, that would have been your like fifth and sixth lap only that it was actually bad.
Yeah.
But so towards the end of the race, it got kind of ridiculous. But for me, it really drove home that I must have some sort of ability to ride because I beat everyone that I wanted to beat.
Awesome.
That day. And I had a much better turnout than I would have thought I would have had. And looking at the power numbers after the fact, it's like it was probably my lowest power output of the whole year.
100, same.
It just was not. I wasn't riding hard
because it wasn't about power. It was
all about
control and smooth and finding the right lines to maintain speed.
And that's I've always said that I like that. And I've always said I'm more of a technical rider. And I know people look at me and just go, yeah, whatever. But I am more of a technical rider. don't have the other power to punch in between all those little bits.
Mhm.
You know,
The whole time it was raining in your race, and then the next race after that, before mine, I was just grinning ear to ear because I knew that it was just getting better and better and better for me.
Yeah.
The sand's always been has always been an advantage for me. I spent a lot of time walking the sand on Saturday, and I knew the lines I wanted to ride. And I got out there and pre-rode Sunday morning, and it took me 3 times to find the right lines I wanted through the sand. This was before it started raining. But then there was another section that everybody was struggling with, and I'm like, I think I know how to get through this, and they're all doing it wrong. And it worked. I found the right line. But then when it started raining, it kind of
It's a moot point. It all packs down.
yeah.
I mean, it was still tricky, and there were still a lot of people running, especially the second deep section, but I still figured out, I still had my approach that worked.
Mm-hmm.
But the big deciding factor by then was just how to ride on top of grease and finding those edges of grass. And don't try to turn in the mud. Adjust your line, make your turn at the edge, point yourself where you want to go, and just go straight across the turn to the other side of course tape, hit the grass, and just turn there. And just keep that speed going by changing the direction you're going in the grass where you have traction, and just go straight across the grease.
Yeah, you can't panic steer either.
No.
If you panic steer, you're gonna crash.
Yeah.
Or panic brake.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, it was I never went down once. I maintained steady speed the whole race.
That's awesome.
I didn't go down either.
I had a blast. I mean, I had to get off and run a bunch of stuff that I thought I would be able to ride earlier in the day, but once I saw the rain, I'm like, yeah, no, there's no way. And I haven't had to be on my feet on a cross race, and here I had to be on my feet 4 times.
Oh, at least, yeah.
Oh, wow.
At least 4 times. Running, and I was very happy for all the work I've been doing in the gym, working on calf strength and ankle stuff and tibialis and all this stuff, because when I had to get off and run, I felt great on my feet. I was like, oh, okay.
That's fantastic.
That worked.
There's at least 4 places I can think of that were running, and I think I'm missing one.
Well, the barriers would be one.
You didn't take the B. You didn't take the B line?
No, the B line was a lot slower.
So top of Cricket Hill, 1, 2, 3 sections right next to the bridge.
Okay, hold on. So you got Cricket Hill,
Mm-hmm.
then you've got the descent, and then you have that crap section of the descent and back up. So that's 2. And then you go under the bridge, and you had the other run up by the pony shop tents.
And that's 3.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 3.
Then you have the barriers.
And then you had the timbers.
The timbers, that's 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the barriers.
Yeah, so 5.
So 5 per lap. That's if you didn't have to get off in the sand. And I know that line you were talking about in the deep stuff with the turn, I had that line too, and I was nailing it in all the pre-riding. And in the race, I wasn't getting enough speed going into it, and I was just dying out at the very end. And there were, I think, all 4 laps, I had to put my foot down for literally like that much left of sand. And it just pissed me off.
I don't know. I had a laser beeline focus on the course tape on the other side of that. And I just went hell bent for leather to the other side. And then by the time you get there, the sand you're out of the deep sand, and then you can turn.
Yeah.
You just can't turn in the sand.
In the sand.
The course turns in the sand.
Did you start on the far right and drift left?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I started on the far right.
Yeah.
I turned and I went straight for the inside stake, and then kept going all the way to the outside of the course on the outside.
Yeah.
And by the time you got there, it was,
I saw photos
awesome.
or some social media stuff from it. I'm like, why is everyone right over here? They should be over on the right-hand side, just drifting towards that turn.
All day.
Just
all
drift
day.
to the
You saw
left-hand
people
side
go
turn.
in the middle.
Yeah.
They would go in the middle, or they would go in the far left and then try to turn and go with it.
I never turned in that sand.
No,
I
you
went
just
straight
go,
across.
you just
hard
go
right, go straight
across, right to left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't
was
there,
perfect.
so I don't know.
Yeah. So
That's rad.
I had fun.
Awesome.
I had fun. You had fun. I think a lot of people had fun. The whole time I was thinking, I hope everybody is enjoying their race today, because I have a sinking suspicion that this is going to be the death knell if anybody from the city comes out and sees the grounds.
I don't know. I mean,
Um,
I'll go on record as saying I think
we all know it comes back fine. One
Yeah.
race in that mud,
Yeah.
it looks like hell, afterward. But by next spring,
Yeah,
it's been torn up so many times there.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I believe I have been told, if I remember correctly, that there's a new land manager, park manager, whatever,
Mhm.
for that specific area. And I know Mark, who puts it on, has been saying that they're more concerned than they used to be. They're not letting us get away with as much, that kind of thing. And he was very protective about how much pre-riding we were doing and things like that.
What?
Oh yeah. Which
One,
didn't make any.
one free ride lap per rider. That's
I'll go on record as saying
no, he didn't want people out there riding it the day before.
The day before.
Oh, okay. My mistake.
Inter-
My mistake. That makes sense.
And I'll go on record as saying no, it doesn't make any sense because people have been out there riding
Yeah,
forever.
that's true.
And we're going to tear the shit out of it the next day anyway.
That's true.
It's going to make absolutely zero difference.
Good point. Good point.
It's a control thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of I said no one's going to do it, so don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I get that. I understand that. I mean, how many times have we been setting up a course and somebody comes out and I'm used to dealing with it.
Yeah.
To the point where when I see it now, I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
I just say, hey guys.
Yeah. Just let them go.
But I heard you even this year. You were like, "Oh my, what the hell are they doing? We're not even finished setting up, and X, Y, and Z." You said something to that effect, and it's like that's always the first thing that goes through your head when you see somebody come out and jump on the course while you're still setting it up. But in the end, it really doesn't matter at all, and it doesn't change the race, doesn't change the course, and if anything, it gives you a good idea whether or not something's really rideable.
Well, yeah, that one was funny. It was like 8:00 in the morning, and we didn't even stick a stake in the ground yet, and they're already there on the pre-ride. It's like, come on, dude, like come in the afternoon.
Oh yeah, I forgot about them.
Yeah,
that was Mr. 12th place, 10th place. Danny Warner.
Yeah. It's like
who got what 5th, 6th, 8th?
I don't know.
10th?
I thought you said
at Nationals
7th or something
yesterday.
like that.
7th, yeah, okay.
I don't know.
So yeah, of course we are in Nationals week. I don't know. You want to talk any more about Montrose?
Montrose?
It is a really big race. Brian Motter came down. He won the overall men.
The registration for it was through.
Yeah, very high. I don't know what day of went to.
Personally, I had an absolute blast. The vibe was great all day. I always race really well there and have a ton of fun. I'm sorry that some of the side issues I know that are issues for you are there, but those, as far as the actual race, the course, it suits me. It's always a fun vibe.
I get it. And it was a very good vibe. The vibe is always good for everyone that's there. I think it's been getting better. This year was absolutely the best out of all the ones I've ever gone to. For sure.
And it was your birthday, which made it special.
It was. Yeah, it was actually on my birthday this year. So, and I did say I cannot remember a time in my life where that many people took time out of their day to wish me a happy birthday or to say something to me or remind me of the fact that it was my birthday. So it was very nice. Thank you to everybody. I did appreciate it.
Why does that vibe only exist at that race and not all the other ones?
For a lot of the reasons why I don't like that race. You've read all my reasons, it
makes sense.
A lot of it is
it's a shame. It's an absolute shame.
A lot of it is the pomposity and elitism associated with it being a city race. And that's why the vibe is so good, is because everyone's like, hey, it's in our home. It's in our home. It's in our backyard. Yeah, we have races in our backyard, but I don't see a bunch of people from Elgin coming out and going, yay, it's in Carpentersville.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Jealousy, a little jealousy, maybe a little bit.
Oh, I'm not jealous of the fact that that's a huge city and I don't want to live in a huge city.
Yeah.
Right.
It's more, I think it's a great venue in terms of the backdrop, everything you see around there. It really does. There's always at least one moment during every year when I'm there where I got to look out over Lake Michigan and take a picture, or, look at the skyline, take a
Mm-hmm.
picture, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is really something else. I mean, this is one of a very large city, even on the world scale,
Mm-hmm.
and to be in that kind of a location
Yeah.
is something that is special. You're not going to get that out of Woodstock. What you're going to get out of Woodstock, though, is a hell of a lot better course.
Shots fired. Pew, pew. Wait till next year. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know how much appeal this has for people that aren't from the Chicagoland area or haven't done cyclocross in the Chicagoland area. But if you are listening to us for Chicago or for cyclocross information, I guarantee you're finding some of this interesting, because we are still considered to be one of the larger scenes still on the national scene.
Mm-hmm.
Northwest, Pacific Northwest, they all say that they have the absolute best scene in the world. That's cool, but they stick to themselves. They stay in their own little area and they don't really do anything about it, and spread the word, in my opinion. At least it's not getting to me. Wisconsin has a great scene, but it's that what makes ours, in my opinion, so much more interesting and so much more active, I think, is the fact that they're all within, 45-minute to an hour drive for everybody in the area.
And there's just simply a lot more people down here in the Chicago region.
But they have a whole state. And they're going all over the state, and that's part of the problem.
Well, that right. I mean, so they have great race venues but they just don't have as big of attendance at it just because of that
much driving.
Yeah.
I definitely would have gone to more if it was close.
But the attendance that goes to the races in Wisconsin is like good talent.
Just
like
talent.
Like stacked.
It's talent.
Like you could have like the 1, 2, 3 field is 15 guys, but they're all good dudes. Same with the women's field.
So,
all the fields are competitive.
That feeds right into where you want to go.
Nationals.
It's a great segue.
Preparation.
No, not nationals preparation as much as just talking about the fact that Wisconsin produces high-level talent.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not in the cheese.
Nope.
And it's not in the fact that that's the drunkest state in the union. It's in the fact that, what's it contributable to?
I mean, I'm no expert on it.
And I'm going to refill my water.
I'm no expert on it, but what I think, I think that the Wisconsin scene just cares more about whatever kind of races they're putting on. Their mountain bike scene is solid. Their cyclocross scene is solid. Their road racing scene with Tour of America's Dairyland is solid, and all that. You give quality events like that to people that have been in the sport for a while or are just entering a certain discipline of cycling. You give them quality events like that or a quality series like that, and they're going to stick around. And guess what? When they stick around, they get better and better and better. And guess what? When they get better and better and better, their talent goes up, and then they can compete on the national stage and do really well. I mean, you look at the level of talent that comes out of Wisconsin is unreal compared to what we have here in Illinois. And I'm not poo-pooing Illinois.
Yeah.
There is good talent here, but for whatever reason, when you go on a big stage like a national stage in any discipline, Wisconsin always produces, and they always come down here for our state championship and kick everyone's butt.
Right.
They have for the last, at least in the elite fields, they have for the last few races or few years, excuse me, and I'm to blame.
Do you think that comes out of? I mean, you mentioned the mountain bike racing. I feel like the Wars series has been so competitive for so long that it fed cyclocross. Naturally brought that intensely talented pool. While it might not be a large quantity of riders, they were very high quality because of the mountain biking.
Yeah, I think you have the War Series, you have NICA, you have Chiquamagan, that's been around for forever, and you know, you introduce a youngster to mountain biking and it appeals to them and they like it and they grow in the sport of mountain biking for a decade and then they're like, "Oh, here's cyclocross. Oh, I already know how to ride off-road." Guess what? There's not too
Mm-hmm.
much that, the only real difference is you already know how to ride off-road. You just got to learn how to do it on drop bars. And once you learn
Right.
that, you're pretty set, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know what it is. Maybe it is in the cheese, maybe it's in the water. I don't know what, but they produce top level talent. And they
It's
have
in the
they have they have guys that have been men and women that have been in cycling that are giving back to their communities. Giving back to
Mm.
the younger junior riders there, through
interesting.
through whatever through little personal camps. Like Mater. Mater's a coach.
Oh yeah.
Mater's probably had a hand in bringing up a lot of that talent that's up there.
Mm.
Not just in Wisconsin, but some kids down here that use Mater as a coach. Um, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but they just seem to produce
Oh,
a lot of talent.
I think part of it is because it is as small as it is. And I think just Wisconsin, in its nature, being so spread out and everything being so spread out, people are used to
Hmm.
traveling to go to places, but they also have great
Terrain.
Oh yeah,
terrain to work
absolutely. That's a huge
with
factor in it.
that is potentially even they don't I mean what do we have here? We have forest preserves that don't want us in them half the time,
Yeah.
most of the time. We don't have access to people's farmland and all the stuff that they have up there that they seem to be able to put together courses that they could put a lot of
Oh yeah. Yeah.
what why are you looking at
We've
me, Dad?
got all sorts of highway overpasses that we could climb all day
You want you,
Well,
you
long.
want
that's
to
the
you want to
thing.
urban cross?
Well,
We should.
there's also not only is it harder to find the kind of venues and the terrain to work with here, the very city centered nature of the Chicago area is that people don't want to have to go that far, and it takes 45 minutes just to get out of the 10-mile
Yeah, no, it's
perimeter
true.
of Chicago, and then you have to drive 40 miles on top of that to
Yeah.
get outside of the suburban sprawl, and it's just like, oh
Yeah.
man, it's you know
We've covered that though. I mean, that's
yeah.
everything in Chicago is an hour away from Chicago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what I also think, this is something I was when you sent I had stopped for a second. I was out riding earlier and I stopped for a second when to look at something and I saw that you came across the feed and gave us information about today's podcast, Rob, and you posed a question in there and about what we're currently talking about. And the one thought that went through my head as I was riding home was like, for me personally, and this is my own opinion, I feel like the Wisconsin scene develops talent because they're more race focused and we're like party focused,
Yeah,
and that
I can
Okay.
see that.
like the vibe at a Wisconsin cross race is we're here to have fun, but we're here to like race. Like we're here to race. Whereas I feel like a lot of the CCC is like, uh, we're gonna ride our bikes, but we're really gonna party.
But and the thing is too, I think they probably do both better.
Yeah, who knows? I don't stick around for that stuff, but I just feel like, and granted, they also have a lot of support for their series. They have a lot of
Yeah.
backing from Trek,
Well,
and
yeah.
they have a lot of other sponsors that can give them things that maybe we can't get in our series because we don't have a lot of sponsorship to enable us to do things. I don't know. This is just my nonsensical
I don't
opinion,
disagree.
Yeah.
you
No,
know?
I agree.
I mean,
It's a whole lot of
every
factors.
time I see a photo of just a freaking whipped cream hand up, I want to vomit. It's just so disgusting to me. Just like, oh my
Well,
God.
to be fair, those aren't happening in the 45 plus race.
Yeah.
Maybe they
No.
should.
Yeah,
No, I don't know.
maybe.
That's just,
I don't want them.
no, I would never. Oh. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I just feel like, I feel like they're more race focused and we're more party focused.
You're more competitive.
Yeah. And
in
that's
general.
why they can perform on bigger stages.
And I think everyone, it's interesting that you say that, though, because I've heard so many times in our series locally, just general cycling culture in this area, that the one thing we don't want to be is competitive.
Why?
We want to. They just want to eliminate all that. We want it to be open and welcoming, and competitive is not welcoming. And I totally disagree
That's
with that. I think
ridiculous.
that you
What the
can
hell are we
be,
even having it for?
yeah, I think you can be extremely welcoming and competitive at the same time.
What is it? The Chicago bike site? Oh, don't.
That's what some people would like to see. Yes, they would like to see people just kind of riding together in a group in a field, and then apparently give out prizes to everybody at the end. No, that's gravel.
Disgusting.
That's gravel. I'm sorry.
That does happen. That does happen. Yeah,
it's fun.
That's frustrating.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking it. I mean, it's fun. I had more fun than ever this year in cross.
Good.
Maybe not than ever, but I had a really fun year for sure.
That's fantastic.
And I really enjoyed racing. And I am not alone in that. A lot of people did. To everybody that is listening, that's from the area, thank you. Because that's all I heard all day long was people going, "Hey, last podcast was great. Thanks." That kind of thing. I heard it at one point, a corner worker that I did not even get a look at while I was racing, as I went by, said, "Hey, thanks for the podcast. It's great. I listen." That kind of thing. I was like, "Who was that?"
That's wonderful.
So if you're listening, thank you.
Yeah.
I do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Heard a lot of that, and a lot of people really enjoyed the last episode. And I think it's really just because we focused on the local stuff for a lot of it. So my apologies to those that aren't in the area when we're focusing on the local stuff, but hopefully it has something interesting for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Bothers me that we're just a collective that just wants to ride around in circles.
But that's not all of it. I mean, there are a lot of competitive people that are still a part of it. I just don't know if there's that many that are still racing.
Not many of them in our scene are interested in going to the next level.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I would highly agree.
There's a few.
That used to be different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even on the women's side, I would say.
Across
there was
all
even
the
a big
boards.
push.
Yeah.
For a while on the women's side that were really like, the goal was to go up.
Yeah.
And to hit that national level and do that.
Yeah.
And I just don't see that anymore. I mean, we've got Elizabeth. Simone, I would say she probably wants to do that.
Yeah. I think it ebbs and wanes. I think I have this I don't know. I always have a positive outlook toward it. I think
you don't like pissing anybody off. That's your shtick.
it.
Neither do you, Rob.
It's not. That's not. It's just I'm an optimist. I'm always the optimist.
That's no fun.
And I've been doing this since 2007, and I've seen up years and down years. In terms of, it's the women's fields are obviously, the scene is a heck of a lot smaller, so it's a lot more noticeable when you have swings up and down. But I've seen it come up and down, and every time it comes down, it's like, oh my gosh, everybody lost interest. And all of a sudden, I have this whole flood of new people on the team that with all this new excitement, and it goes up, and then people kind of move into other things.
Cyclical.
And it's cyclical.
Yeah.
And I love racing with 8 teammates, and I love racing with just one, or even just by myself. They all have pros and cons and benefits and things I enjoy about all of it. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm excited about next year. I'm excited. I'm excited about nationals coming up. You've been paying a lot of attention, Tim, to the racing?
I pay attention. I actually probably pay more attention than I think I pay attention. I find myself daily
Cross nationals.
Looking on the feeds to see what's happening. I'll pay attention.
Yeah.
I paid attention to obviously yesterday's first batch
Right.
of championship races. Isaac Neff got his fifth Masters title. That's 6 titles now for him, if you include his single speed win.
Hmm.
Um, and then I'll
This is it.
go ahead.
Were they all in the same age group? Well, obviously, because he's been the same age
No, it was baby.
as
Yeah.
his peers.
His was baby Masters. He got a couple in baby Masters, and then 35, 39 now.
He's in 35, 30. So the first was in,
Baby
you kind of
Masters.
cut out on our end, but the first one was,
He was
Baby
Baby
Masters.
Masters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so and then I'll after we get off of this, I think 45, 49 I'll pay attention to that, and then 50 to 54 I'll pay attention to that because that's,
Those are today.
yeah, the 50 to 54 should maybe be going on right now, and then um 45, 49 will be at 3:45. So
Okay.
those are kind of the fields that I pay attention to because those are my peers. Those are the people that I have to race.
Yeah.
So we'll see what goes on with that. And then obviously you have your elites on Saturday and Sunday. So we'll see what happens with
On your
those.
juniors.
Oh, and your juniors, yeah. They had the collegiate races today. I think Peter Swinand
Yeah.
was in there. Um, so yeah, I do pay attention. I enjoy seeing, not only what our local area does, our riders in our area, but Wisconsin riders and just in and around the Midwest. And then obviously I do my homework for my categories and see
Right.
who's got the target on their back for next year.
Hmm.
I don't want to, sorry, I don't want to steal a direct conversation from CX Hair's podcast, but I was listening to their
Hmm.
latest one for Nationals preview, and they brought up some things and discussions. And the whole time I'm sitting there yelling at my phone, like trying to jump in, on the conversation.
Does
Oh, I
anybody
see
hear
that.
me?
But obviously that's not going to do good. But
Yeah.
there are some points that I wanted to bring up, and there was something that I thought was I know you guys haven't listened to it yet, I'm assuming.
No.
So one question that was brought up that I think is very interesting is, what is the point of nationals really? What it was phrased as, who are nationals for, or what is nationals for? And I'll rephrase it as what's the point of nationals?
Mm. That's a good one. That's a good one. I did say,
Not in a negative way. I'm just asking that question. Like, can we define what nationals means to us?
it's I
Well, it should be the best in the nation.
I have a different opinion.
But I feel like a lot of age group is more the best in that regional area of the nation, because it usually doesn't get the best in the nation always there.
That's a good point, depending on where it's at. Like if you made logistics easy for both coasts and everyone in the middle to meet up and really duke it out, then it would be the best of the best. You know, there's probably not a lot of people coming from California to Kentucky to race for nationals. Who can afford that?
Yeah.
It's a big
Yeah.
undertaking. It's even an expensive undertaking for us to go do, and we're only a 7 hour drive away. With the amount of,
Yeah.
you all know what it costs to have 2 working bikes, all parts, all spare parts, spare shoes, spare everything, and then you got to pay $25 a person to watch the event. So, your spouse has to pay money to watch you do what you want to do, and then, tent fees if you're going to have tents. There's all sorts of fees. It's an expensive endeavor.
How about just your entry fee? It was 185
Yeah.
this year.
And if you want to be competitive in your championship race, it's wise for you to do the non-championship race. So that's another $100+ you know.
Yeah.
It's an expensive undertaking. So yeah, to your point, Leah, I don't think it gets the best of the best because like it's regional almost. Those that can afford to travel with, where money isn't an object, sure, they're going to be there.
And we're jumping into that second part. I wanted to talk about the cost of it. But it's in general, I do think, in my opinion, that nationals holds this spot where it's still meaningful. It's meaningful for, I'll say, us and or everyone. And I will preface that with, it's meaningful to masters racers,
I disagree.
both male and female, in a region. It's meaningful in that I've lost track of the number of times that I've seen riders say they're training, they want to go to nationals this year. That's a goal. They want to do it. Now, not all of them are going there to win it, and they know that. We had quite a few that left this area that have already raced at nationals in the very old age groups. And yes, I'm calling you old. Who knew they weren't necessarily going to win, but to them, it's a culmination of their entire season, and it gave them a target, it gave them something to shoot for, and it's a whole level that isn't, let's say, Montrose or whatever our last race of our series would be. It's a step up. We don't have USGP anymore.
It's a shame.
The stuff at Trek is great. It's at the beginning of the season now, so you're not like going, I want to see what kind of shape I'm in. I want to kind of prepare for Trek, and if I'm really good, then I'm going to go ahead and register and go there and do my thing.
Yeah.
We're just jumping out there going, I guess it's going to be good, so we're going this year.
Yeah.
We do have regional UCI races, but not a lot of people go to them from here for some reason. Your Indies, your Cincinnati.
Yeah.
There's others, but there you go.
You could do the whole USCX if you can afford it.
Well, that's the thing. It gets into that kind of level of. So I think nationals for us, when it's anywhere in the Midwest, or even when it was in New Hampshire? Was it New Hampshire or was it Connecticut?
Connecticut.
Last year.
Yes.
Even that's it's a feasible journey for people from here if they're going to make that the culmination of their season. Very long distance, very expensive, but it's all relative because it's long distance and expensive just to go to Louisville.
Right.
But yeah, if they have it out in Washington, no one from here is going to, I don't want to say no one, there may be one or two.
I went.
I would go
as support for Jessica. There were not that many people.
I am completely mistaken. Apparently, everyone from here.
No, I would go.
I
would go strictly because it's something different.
Yeah,
I would go to obviously be competitive, but the course demographic would be completely different, and that's what I would go for.
And that would be exciting.
Yeah.
There was always a lot of excitement around nationals from here until a few years ago. It just kind of
it's hard.
Seemed to fizzle out.
It's hard.
What do you place it on?
Yeah, I don't know.
Cross
I went. I only raced my first 3 years in cross, 07, 08, and 09, but then I went every year because all of my friends and everybody from here was going, and even people who weren't racing that raced locally, everybody wanted to go. And it was so fun, and I think prior to COVID.
Well, when did it fizzle out? It was good those years in Texas, right? Or the year in Texas.
Yeah.
With the heritage trees and all that.
Yeah, and I was there. And then I didn't race, but I was there. I went to Asheville.
That was Asheville.
Austin.
Yeah, I went to Austin. I went to Asheville. Again, not to race.
It seemed like it went to Colorado one year, and that's when it kind of seemed like it died off.
I didn't go to East Coast when it was in Connecticut. I didn't go there.
I didn't either.
I didn't go. Was it down in not Kentucky? I was just thinking there was one down in Virginia, South Carolina. I don't know where.
No, it was in Asheville twice.
North Carolina. Yeah.
North Carolina. Yeah, something like that. I didn't go to that one. Somewhere around that time, it just kind of like, I was like, oh, who's going to nationals? And you hit crickets.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
And what's interesting is that, to your point, when we had that fervor, when people were really wanting to go, and this wasn't during the peak of cross, this was after the peak of cross.
Yeah.
So people were still focusing on trying to get out to nationals. It seemed like it died off. And the full culmination of that is this year, we consider Louisville to be in our backyard.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a local race.
It's under 10 hours.
I mean, it's not Madison. Madison's more local.
Yeah.
But
it's 4.5 hours away, and I know I made a list.
It's
I
not
sat
4.5
down.
It's
hours
7
away.
hours away. You must drive 110 miles an hour.
Leah, it's
Is it?
it's
Okay.
longer than that. I'll
Sorry.
call it 5.5, 6. Okay,
Okay,
I'll give you
fine.
that one.
Okay, fine.
Either way, it's not far.
This one,
It's
100
not
mile
far.
an hour.
Yeah. Triple
It's
digits.
not.
She's gonna look.
She
didn't believe me.
I was like, it's not that. I just
She's going to
drove that
Indianapolis.
way.
She's going to Indianapolis this weekend, and she was like, "I'm going to stop down and look at nationals one day." She goes, "It's only like an hour drive."
No, you know who she
I'm
is?
like, no.
She's the wolf from Pulp Fiction. That's 45 minutes away. I'll be there in 10.
Yeah.
All right, Louisville, Kentucky.
7 hours.
5 hours and 49 minutes.
That says 6 hours and 53 minutes.
Yeah.
That's if you account for that's if you go through the Chicago.
So 6
area.
to 7 hours.
There you go.
It is less than 6 hour drive. Suck it.
It's 6 to 7 hours.
Your map lies.
Are you going to stop
7 hours
at any point to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, right?
Jeez.
Okay.
No.
Oh, wait. Do you
Anyway.
count when you tell somebody how long it's going to take to drive somewhere? Or do you count in bathroom
No, but
stops?
I would look at a 5 hour and 50 some odd minute drive and say it's 6 hours.
Not round down.
Okay.
You round down.
I would say 6. Okay, fine.
Anyway.
Okay.
So he said
it's a
7.
short drive.
I said
It's
6.
a short drive. It's a short drive.
We're closer
Leah's
than
3.5.
Yeah.
I drive fast.
Yes, you do.
So anyway, it's in our backyard.
Yeah.
And even though it's in our backyard, it's like crickets. I mean, there are people going down for sure. There are a lot of people going down, more than I realized. But there is definitely not the volume you would expect for it being that close. Is my point. To top that off, talking to Lou Kuhn from Pony Shop briefly during Montrose, he mentioned they were going to be out at nationals, and he said that they've got people going, but not as many.
Yeah.
And I said, what's up with that? Why are so few going, do you think? And he goes, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. And I have to agree. It doesn't make sense. Everyone I've talked to, though, I say that and I'm not there. I should be there right now, but I'm not there. I should definitely be there for the weekend. I'm not there.
Yeah.
But everyone I've talked to, though, I can name probably off the top of my head, maybe 8, 10 people that were flat out saying, I'm not going this year, but I'm going next year.
That's weird when it's in the same spot.
Isn't it?
Maybe they just don't feel prepared for it for whatever capacity, whether it's from a competitive standpoint or a financial standpoint. Maybe they have to save up for it. Who knows?
We did see an interesting thing happen this year in our local crossing.
Yeah.
At a time of the season, halfway through, we expect the tail off. And we saw the opposite.
It went the other way.
And that was interesting. It went the opposite direction. We started seeing pre-reg numbers start going up where we historically see them start to go down. And that's curious.
It's very curious.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Not only that, but the whole attitude went up the whole season. I want to chalk it up to the weather. The weather was way more agreeable, but we still had, some mud here and there.
The weather was only part of it. I mean, we've had good and bad weather in the past, and it just still always seemed to follow that trend of super excitement at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And then it kind of peters down. Actually, I thought it started out slow, and we were all like, oh, this is not good.
There was not that level of super excitement that you usually see.
Yeah. And then actually,
it just kept climbing.
Look at the courses that are lumped in the middle of the season when participation waned. Are they exciting? No. Are any of our courses really that exciting? No. And then you say the word Montrose and everyone's like, party time. So all the registration goes to the roof.
Wheeling was up.
Yeah.
And most people would look at Wheeling and be like,
Yeah.
We were higher than I expected to be.
Yeah.
So our reg was up.
Yeah.
Our reg was up. Wheeling was up. And
I remember
and not
Bartlett
surprised.
said they were higher than they were expecting.
Yeah.
To be.
Even I'm not surprised to see that the Forge had good turnout because it's a new exciting course.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the Forge kicked it.
Yeah, I think the Forge. I would like to say that we injected a little excitement back with our noon race at Woodstock. I think we had a lot of people got excited about the fun factor of riding, and I think that I think that spread a little bit too.
That would be amazing if that was the case.
I choose
Well,
to believe
you
that
did
it
say you're
did.
ever the optimist, so
Yes.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know, a little bit of the weather, maybe a little bit of just people having fun again at bike races, and Woodstock had an amazing vibe. We had a lot of people hanging out and watching races, and up until that point, I remember. And Bartlett may have had a good turnout from the racers, but I remember walking out of the officials tent and looking around, and there was like nobody there. The team tents, there was nobody there. When there was spectators watching. Bartlett, Sunrise
yeah.
Park. And I was like, oh, this is depressing. I
Mhm.
feel like it's dead.
I noticed that at Bartlett.
Nobody.
I rode to that race just to watch a little bit. And when I rolled in, I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, there's nobody here.
There weren't a lot of
Yeah.
tents. There weren't a lot
No.
of teams there. And then they all tore down
Yeah.
and they were gone.
Yeah.
before
And
the
it
end of the
wasn't
year.
a bad weather day.
No, it was
so I was
beautiful.
like, what's
It
going
was
on?
beautiful.
Yeah.
It was really
The
nice.
majority of the
It's not like
series
it's
has
that
been
far
good
from
weather.
the city.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it didn't make any sense to me, but to me it was just a harbinger of, well, it must be, everything's going down, everything's bad, everything's horrible. And then you look at the numbers, you're like, well, but people raced,
Yeah.
Yeah, people raced. They're just like coming, racing, and going.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that changed. It flipped.
It changed. It did.
As we went further, it
I have
flipped.
no idea why.
I think it was good with us. After us, I think it was even a little better. And then Forge was, off the hook for people staying and watching, I think. And then Montrose was Montrose. People were there for the whole long haul. It was almost like, Montrose gets a bit of the, hey guys, all right, it's over. We're shutting the lights off. Time to go home. You almost have to kick people out of there.
Mm.
Yeah.
Last race of the day in the dark again.
Yep.
It does bug me. I'm glad I don't have to race it. I have raced it before and did not like it. But for anybody that's listening to this and thinking about doing it in the future, I would highly recommend bringing a light if you are racing the Cat 5 by the end of the season. You won't regret it.
Yeah.
But I think it's, to your point, I think it's on an upward trend.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So Nationals, my contention is Nationals is there as a goal and as an apple for a group. It adds this layer of achievement for people that I think people used to get out of the USGP series and or when there was more regional UCI races. We don't have Jingle anymore.
Sad.
If we had Jingle and it was during the Thanksgiving holiday like it used to be, I think attendance for it would have been amazing this year.
Yeah.
That's what's needed. We do need that UCI race kind of in that spot around that time.
Yeah.
Because we don't have it, we have Nationals to look forward to. I think the vibe was great at Cantigny. I'm biased because it is local and a really cool person I know won. So I liked it. It just had a great vibe. All those memories are coming up in my
same
in my stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just nuts.
Yeah.
It is so good. It was such a good time.
It's like I'm like, oh, I forgot about that thing we had in the tent.
Who else? I'm sorry, but I have not been to another Nationals, and I've been to a few. I'm not going to say I haven't been to any. I have not been to another Nationals where they would allow to have happen the
circus that was at
carnival
yeah.
that we set up in a parking lot that was that close to the race course.
That was pretty cool.
Where pro riders were coming in and hanging out.
That was pretty cool.
All right. Do we need to make a plan now to create that again in Louisville next year?
You might not be.
We would
you might
have
not
to
be
make a
allowed
plan.
to.
Let's get a moving
problem.
truck.
You might not be allowed to.
That would be the problem.
Yeah.
And also the tents in Louisville are that whole tent compound thing is far enough away from the actual course that it's like a thing.
Yeah.
No one would really care or pay attention. I think they're really missing the boat on that, because that really made it memorable for a lot of people, especially the people that came in from out of town.
Yeah.
We had strangers in
Yeah.
there from out of town that had traveled, that spent like they came in and they were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You remember the
This is
fake
amazing.
Yostein? You remember fake Yostein?
Vaguely. I remember that phrase. I don't remember what he looked
There
like.
was a guy that walked past the tent and multiple times, and finally everybody kept saying, oh my gosh, that looks like Yostein, but it's not. Finally somebody just grabbed him and pulled him in, and he's like, I don't know who you people are, but this is awesome.
Yeah.
And he just kind of immediately he became fake Yostein. I don't remember where he was from, but he wasn't from Illinois.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's super funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, we had everybody in there.
Yeah.
Worthy, there was a Worthy sighting, and he ended up inside and talked to me for a long time.
I remember that.
I saw Worthy at BWR Kansas, and I was going to be like, Worthy, but I was like, maybe it's not Worthy.
No, you know.
No, yeah.
You get close, you'll know.
Yeah, no, I knew.
But yeah, I can see that from a distance.
Yeah. I was.
But I mean, everybody. God, help me out. I'm thinking of names here.
Dude, there was a lot of people there.
Kerry Warner was right outside.
Oh yeah.
Had his setup like right across from us.
You guys gave him a Malort shot.
Yeah, and there's a good video.
Oh, and
out
you
there.
guys were doing the races at the end.
The races were the key thing.
Drunk Metz was doing something crazy, I think.
Oh yeah, in the parking lot. Yeah. And I think our Seattle crew, the Robinson family, were very unhappy to hear that we weren't cupping down. I think they were
to
hoping,
Louisville.
I think they were hoping we were going to bring the party tent.
Bring a
down
little
to
party with
Louisville.
us.
Wow.
Well, we're business when we need to be. You know, we had a good week of racing, and that was the final unwind.
Yeah.
Although I will say the night before that, there was a good get together too, as we ended up with all the leftovers from the pony shop party, and everybody had a blast.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
It was nice being 10 minutes away from there.
It was very nice. I'm a little farther, but it wasn't that big of a drive. I would never complain about that.
It was wonderful.
That was, for that level of fun, that was amazing.
I cried all the way home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like coming back, what was really sad is coming back on, was it Monday?
Mm-hmm.
When we cleaned everything up.
Oh God, it must have stunk. It was saturated from the rain.
No, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that
spilled
bad.
all over
I remember
the place.
it was cold, but I mean, thank God we waited until the next day to tear everything down.
The sun was out.
Yeah, the sun was out. Things had dried out.
Yeah, it was a doable day, and it went fast. You know,
good.
Many hands make light work, that kind of thing. And we had a good vibe there because it was all the stalwarts, you know, that make everything happen.
Yeah.
And then we all went out to eat afterwards. It was a blast.
Awesome.
I think somebody was offering up Bloody Marys or something. I was like,
hair of the dog.
Nah, it's time to work now.
Yeah, I was like, no, who wants to drink on Monday morning after a week of it?
Right.
It's time to be serious and get some
right.
work done. Yeah. So I think for me personally, National I think it still has a viable role. I think it's very important. I understand that it's going to regionally change, you know, from time to time. I hope it stays within driving distance and region for us, because it's something to consider that having it in that region is a boon to all of the racing in that region for the season, in my opinion, because it gives the juniors something to shoot for. It gives the masters something to shoot for. Oh, and by the way, what happens on Sunday is cool too. It's fun to watch, and it will give us a reason to stick around. But almost everybody in this country would just assume sit at home and watch the Sunday stuff on some streaming service that you can't do anymore, because all of those options have been shut down except for Flow Sports. If you're paying for Flow, which is what, $160 a year, which I do pay for, but it is a business expense.
It's ridiculous.
So, you know,
what are the chances that Flow will see the opening to I mean,
slim to none, because they have to buy the rights.
They have to buy the rights.
I think I've been listening to a lot of people talk about this specific issue. We are screwed in this country for the foreseeable future. No one cares enough about this sport to do anything about it. So we're back.
That's why it doesn't matter.
doing VPNs and crap like that.
That's why
you know?
nationals doesn't matter.
You have a different definition of matter than
I have
I
an
think.
extremely different definition. I think
Yeah.
I think for the junior racer, I think for the U23 racer, and I think for the elite racer it matters. I think for the masters racer it doesn't matter. Only to the master that wins it and his family that supports him. But as far as the industry or the cycling industry or those within the niche of cyclocross giving a shit, they
Oh yeah, no,
nobody cares. Nobody
I think
cares about that.
I think that's where we have two completely different definitions of what matters. I'm using the definition of matters as it being
Like having
meaningful
one,
for the
you're talking about having one.
no, well, having one and what purpose it serves, and I think it's very meaningful for those that choose to use it as a goal and or participate in
Well,
it.
yeah, I mean,
In terms of it mattering for the industry or the sport as a whole,
or even
you
your
could get rid of all the races.
or even your trajectory.
Correct.
Yeah, for a junior, it makes all the sense in the world. You start collecting those jerseys at an early age. Guess what? You're going to Europe.
Yeah.
You know, for the masters racer, no, there's no. It's just something.
But
it's just another article of clothing to sit in a drawer.
But I think it matters for those that choose to use that as their, because those guys that I know that came in 10th,
yeah,
or 15th, it's still very meaningful for them, and they're glad they went, and they're glad that they had the experience and did it. You came in what
I raced Louisville
Kansas.
in 20. I raced
7th.
I raced Louisville in 2018. I got 18th. I went there because I thought I was ready to compete at a national level. And I got my ass kicked. I got a rude awakening. And I was pissed off. I was pissed off at the CCC. I was pissed off at myself. I was mad at a lot of things. But the thing that I'm thankful for is it gave me that experience and woke me up to what real national level competition was, to where I spent the next 2.5 years training my ass off so I could win in Chicago. Through a pandemic when people sat on their ass and did nothing, I was beating my head against a wall, crying, depressed, ready to quit the sport. But no, I stuck with it because I wanted it. And that introduced it to me, and I got a jersey and a medal for it.
Yeah.
But USA Cycling. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, to USA Cycling, does Masters Nationals matter?
No.
Or is it just the money?
No.
They just that for them it's
no, it's a money grab.
They collect. It's a money grab that that the only thing that matters to them is, like you said, Tim, for seeing your top juniors or your top U23, your top elites, because that's what really matters for the sport.
But even then,
that's what matters for USA Cycling's appearance.
What they don't even have the money to support or develop any of that.
Right.
They admit it.
Exactly. Yeah, you're only, if you're a junior, and this is the way I see it, if you're a junior and you start collecting these, these national championships and state championships and whatnot, they may see that and you may get an opportunity, but there's a lot of good kids out there that aren't because their mom and dad don't have the deep pockets to buy into the program.
Right.
And
I've always said
disgusting.
Because of how niche we are, we will never have the best athletes that we could have.
There's probably only one dude that's getting everything funded for him, Curtis White. Everybody else that's even one step below Curtis or kicking Curtis's ass currently is getting nothing. They're paying their own way.
That reminds me, I do want to do a little, prediction thing here real quick. But this is my thought, and everybody can take it for what it's worth and chuck it. But I think to address some of the regionality that we have in this country, I would really like to see like I'll call them regional championships. A poor term. It's a poor term because we have regional championships now, and they're meaningless bullshit at this point.
Oh, yeah.
But I would like to see 3 regions in the U.S. have championships. And I would like to see that happen a week or two before nationals. And I think that that's where everybody should be able to get their exposure to something that's better, not necessarily a national level production, but a more difficult course, more regional kind of thing. And my idea with that would be that um, these venues, on the venue side, these would be opportunities for new venues that want to host nationals
Mm-hmm.
to put on a course and to show that they've got the logistics and parking and they can handle the volume and they can put on a really nice course.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're in consideration for a nationals venue. Um, if they did that, also for, I think that would be great for masters development, because if you're not going to nationals, you can still go to your
You said
regional.
master's development.
Well, but
No,
but
that's funny.
getting a 35-year-old interested in doing
Oh,
the
I get it.
sport,
I get
you
it.
know,
Yeah. There's a lot of probably potential in that.
you know, those of you that are over 70, I don't care. The I'm kidding. The kids, getting kids exposure to it,
Yeah.
for like, if they had a regional one that was like, you know, I don't know, in Nevada right now, you get people that are from that area that can go and do a UCI level, you know, style of cyclocross race
Mm-hmm.
without it being UCI, and get an opportunity to see kind of what that's like, and it may be a national venue
Mm-hmm.
in the future, you know, and kind of inspire them and give them an opportunity to do that. I think we need that.
Yeah.
And I think also for those that are in that, you know, the dumb range of quote unquote elite, people that are cat twos that can't really make it to a UCI race, but can maybe get to this regional thing, it gives them an opportunity to go and, let's say, collect a point that would allow them to attend nationals
Yeah.
in the elite race. And I think that would be, you know, something for people to strive for.
Yeah.
And I think it would give us another level of racing that I don't think we have right now in this country, with the elimination of USGP
People,
and all of the regional UCI races we used to have.
yeah, people need to experience harder stuff, because you know what? It's hard. But at the same time, from like my experience was, it was super hard, but it opened my eyes to what,
Yeah.
A real national level event was. And we don't have a lot of that going on. We need more of that. I've even thought
Oh,
about, go ahead.
All right. So this is the start list for elites. We're going to call the elites. I want your predictions, men and women. Who wants to go first? It's not me.
I don't go.
You know,
Go ahead.
I looked at the list and I was like, I don't even recognize. I don't follow, and there was nothing to follow because there's no series. But obviously Clara Hussinger, for the women, and I don't know if there's anybody else in the. I don't know anything about these other women.
You got Raylan Nuss. She could potentially do it, but she's been on the back foot all year through all the USCX that I've watched. She's not the same Raylan Nuss of last year. Clara's probably your favorite, obviously, because Clara's got 3 championships to her credit. Especially if it's muddy, I give it to Clara. Who else? You got there's I don't know if Lindsay Gonzalez is around or if she's going to race elites. Who are the names? Give me the female names.
Well, I mean, just to give you an idea, I don't even see Hunzinger on the start list.
She's
is she?
Towards the bottom. S&M.
Oh, there you go. Okay. So you got Lauren Alanya locally.
Okay.
She's out there.
I saw Erica Zaveda on there.
Yeah, Erica Zaveda, Raylan Nuss.
Read them off.
Oh, geez.
There's 21. 20.
Yeah, Sarah Larson, Lauren Lackman, Kristen Reuter, Charlotte Lellman, Bree Osmondson, Erica Zaveda, Joy Franco, Brooke Lyman, Amelia Shea, Natalie Quinn, Kim Coleman, Heidi Wood, Chelsea Richwine, Caitlin Newman, Allison Crow, Pershal Artson,
Wisconsin.
Katie McDicken,
Interesting.
on Proterra, Aaron Gordon, Jennifer Malik, Raylan Nuss, Katie Klaus, Clementine Nixon, Ann Usher, Brianna Rye Simpson, Claire Hunzinger, Anna Dorovishki. I don't know how to say her name. I apologize. And Laura Lanya. Mine very easily, without a doubt, without barring some act of God, Claire Hunzinger obviously winning.
Yeah.
And winning by freaking minutes. The only competitors, in my opinion, on here that are going to be close are going to be Katie Klaus and Raylan Nuss.
Yeah. I'd say that's your podium in some order, but with probably it being as pedal heavy as I've heard that the course is, she would probably be the shoe in. Raylan would probably be second, Klaus third.
Second. Oh, I'd say Klaus would be second.
Yeah, she's come on. She hasn't raced a lot this year, but that doesn't mean she hasn't been, active. Erica maybe probably top 5.
Yeah.
Top
if
5,
she has
6.
if she has a really good race, I think she can be up there.
Yeah.
But she's not going to be on the podium.
Yeah.
The 4th, 5th wide angle podium maybe.
Yeah, I would say definitely wide angle.
I think Raylan's just had she's behind the 8 ball. She's not having the year that she had last year, that's for sure.
No, maybe she put in a good block and she'll be competitive for this national championship. But throughout the summer,
it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I am going to watch it.
Yeah, for sure.
There will be a viewing here. I'm going to try to put something together at the shop if people want to come by. And you know me.
Nice.
Okay. Good to know.
Men's side.
Oh, I got that.
I'm not going to read everybody.
I got that.
All right.
Go ahead.
If it's dry, just don't even make Bruner race. Just give him the jersey right there. He just seems to be on another level. I mean, the guy did the Lifetime Grand Prix all summer. Barely did any cross racing. Came out in his first cross race and smashed everybody. Or did really well. Handed it to Curtis. And I think he will do it again if it's dry. If it's not, if it's wet, I would probably say Curtis has a little bit more of a chance. If Strohmeyer is in there,
it's looking to be wet.
Okay.
It's looking to be wet.
If Strohmeyer's in there, I would put him in the top 3.
He's in there.
Okay, good. I would say Bruner, Strohmeyer, and this is tough. My heart says Kerry Warner for 3rd, but I think Curtis will probably get 3rd. But I don't think Kerry Warner would be too far off.
What do you think, Leah?
I have no opinion. I have not been.
You have an opinion, just
paying attention. I don't know. I have not been watching anybody.
That's fair.
In the U.S. watching
that's fair.
At all.
I'll say.
I mean,
it's a so-so for Bruner. I'm calling Bruner, but I think Strohmeyer is going to be nipping on his heels.
Oh yeah, they'll battle it out. You know who would definitely be a dark horse? Scott Funston.
Yeah.
Scott Funston. He's good. He is real good.
For sure.
So he could be your 3rd step.
Curtis White, I don't know if I've gone on record as saying this. I will say it though if I haven't. I hate, as much as I like the guy, I hate to say it. I truly believe in my heart of hearts he's a one and done.
Yeah.
I think everything in the world possible had to align for him to get this one time. And I'm sad that I think he wraps his entire identity up into being the national champion. And I don't like to see that because I wish he would just kind of go out and try to be the best he can be in whatever races he's hitting, which he does. I'm not saying he doesn't do that.
Right.
I'm just saying I think he gears his entire season just for this.
Puts too much pressure on himself.
The ultimate prize. Oh, completely.
And that's why he doesn't.
Completely.
That's why he cracks.
Yes, and he is too susceptible to cracking, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say he's getting old, but he's 26, and these are all kids that are going to come in and kick his ass.
Yeah.
And they're going to keep kicking his ass for a lot of years.
I mean, the modern day athlete has been able to go into their late 20s
40s
and early 30s. Yeah, or if a guy like Motter, he seems invincible.
Dude, Katarina Nash.
Yeah, another one. So hopefully Curtis still has some good years ahead of him, which would be awesome to see him stick around for, many, many more years if he physically can. I get it if you mentally check out. There's not really anything you could do. that happens.
And I'm more worried about that with him than anything else.
I think, like I told you the other day, I think he was good, but Hyde was better.
Yeah.
And Hyde just got him those 3 years where he was the next best. But Hyde was just that one little element better.
And honestly, I think that Curtis can make another 5 years of doing what he wants to do and being the next best or the third next best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like that's not good enough for him. And I think mentally it's going to do a lot of damage to him.
Yeah.
Instead of just owning up to it and being like, okay, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I'm going to own this. And not only that, I'm going to go around. I got other plans.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, let's go to Europe, you know? Take the year off. Don't do the U.S. stuff. Go to Europe. Spend the whole year in Europe.
That's what I think he should have been doing, is spending his time in Europe and just been developing his craft in Europe.
Yeah. How many riders right now, this is a rhetorical question, but how many riders right now who are really good have eschewed their North American national championships to be in Europe? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's just not the same. And we all know it's just not the same.
Yeah.
Honorable mentions, though, on my end, go to Gaychak.
Oh, that's right. He's coming back. That's right.
Yeah, be interested to see what he does. Kerry Warner, obviously, because you never know. Gravel Warner might be able to pull something out.
I think he will. I think
I think he'll have a really good race for him. I don't want to throw. Help me out here, Wisconsin. Swartz.
Caleb?
I don't want to throw Caleb out with the bathwater. If he has a good race, I see him in the top 10.
Top 10.
You know,
he could be top 10. Top 10. Yes.
Lance Heidt, top 10. It'll be interesting.
There's a lot. There's a lot of dark horses.
There's a lot of good talent out there, and they're all young enough that we're starting to see them develop into what's really going to be coming.
Yeah.
And I can't wait until we're back to those nationals where we're like, you know, these are huge talents. They're racing cross the whole season, and they're talking about going to Europe, and there's 4 or 5 of them.
I'm glad Gage Hecht is back.
Yeah.
He's good.
It'll be interesting. It'll be fun to watch. I'm actually excited to watch it.
No, you guys are getting me excited to watch it.
Oh, it's going to be good.
So
it's going to be good.
That's nationals in the nationals preview, or nationals in a nutshell. I obviously got to get this one out today. So I'll try to do that. So hopefully you guys are all listening to that on, this is Thursday. Yeah. So I got to get it out today.
Yeah.
I'll do that right when we're done. But, so any other things to wrap up? Anything else we want to throw in there real quick? Think we're good?
Yeah.
Nothing off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a season of giving. Please go and check out pedalingminds.org.
Yes.
Our good buddy Mike Freeman's project. He's obviously been busy. Also, we've been talking about a lot of local stuff. So we haven't necessarily been able to have him be a part of it because of how busy he's been.
He's out making the world a better place.
Yeah. He is talking about Fat Bike Nationals. So I can't wait to get him back on and talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we may even do one next week if he can do it, just so we can get on and do that. Because I really do want to talk about that. So go check out pedalingminds.org, obviously. And as always, give your ass a break and go check out some buttonhole chamois cream.
Nice sales pitch. You should put that on the label.
No.
Give your ass a break. Buttonhole.
It's usually the ask me about my buttonhole, but so give yourself a break, reward yourself. It's coming up on the Christmas season, holiday season, whatever you celebrate. Have a loved one get you some buttonhole chamois cream, or you know what? Have your boss do it so that you can have a weird, awkward conversation with him.
Yeah.
Or her.
It's a perfect stocking
Sorry, I
stuffer.
didn't mean to say him.
Yeah.
So tingle and no tingle formulations, go to your local bike shop and you should be able to find it on the shelf. If it is not there on the shelf, ask them why not. Tell them it's your favorite. And if you haven't tried it, try it. I guarantee you will like it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about it for today. Thanks for joining us on the Road is Dead podcast. And as always, like, share, and subscribe, and enjoy the ride.